Well, lately there has been a debate about high interest rates. We want to delve into that because we are getting a new report from the Bank of Ghana indicating that 14 out of 23 banks offer lending rates of more than the industry average of 20.5. There's more in this report from my colleague, George Afe.
Banks that go around mobilizing for funds, and it is the bank.
The average lending rate of the Universal Banks report put together by the Bank of Ghana tracks the real interest that the banks are charging on loans offered to customers and the general public. From the publication, CalBank's average lending rate of 15.97% beats the rate offered by the other 22 universal banks ending July this year. The bank that came close to what Cal offers is GT Bank, which charges customers and the public an average rate of 16.97%. However, ADB can be described as the bank that has the highest interest rate on the market, as at the end of July this year, it offered 24.87% as average interest on all loan products. The central bank in the report argues that these rates represents the average of all interest rates applicable on loan products for borrowers, which has been reported by all the commercial banks. The Bank of Ghana believes the regular publication of this report will help bring down rates. The central bank had in the past been always publishing this data. However, it was halted for no official reason. It is not clear for now what might have influenced its resumption or whether the recent calls by the president during the inauguration of the reconstituted board of the Bank of Ghana for them to help drive down rates might have influenced it.
Well, this report doesn't make you feel better, does it? Well, the Bank of Ghana is under pressure to compel banks to reduce the interest rates, but you know, it's not as it seems, at least according to banking and finance expert Dr. Benjamin Amwa, who says that the cost of doing business for banks is on the high and it's difficult for them to reduce the rates. And so he's asking the monetary policy of the Bank of Ghana to take that into consideration. His reaction to the report from the Bank of Ghana.
The banks that do the actual lending, it is the banks that go around mobilizing for funds. And it is the banks that must promise their depositors interest rates or deposit rates that will attract funds from them. On the other side, the Monetary Policy Committee looks at the overall economy and then attempts to influence price levels in the economy. Now, if the banks are not responding accordingly, then what the banks are telling the central bank is that our cost of doing business is not adequately being captured in what the Monetary Policy Committee is coming out with. And that is why the banks are finding it difficult to easily reduce their rates, simply because how much they contract their deposit is not what is being shown by the MPC. And because these banks are competitive forces, they may not want to perch themselves at a rate that disadvantages them. So if all the 23 banks also are clustering around a particular rate, then it is telling us that the true cost of borrowing is what the banks are exhibiting and not necessarily what
the thoughts of Dr. Benjamin Amwa speaking there to my colleague Charles Aite. A final story for us has to do with market fires. We've seen many of them this year and in recent past. Well, the fire service is stepping up measures to fight fire. The personnel in the Ashanti region have been undergoing some training, and our reporter from there, Nana Aljima, brings us this piece from the Ashanti region.
Market fires, due to poor setups of most markets, have ruined many of their sources of income. Blockage of access routes have impeded firefighters in dousing flames in markets. Acting Regional Commander ACFO Henry Giwa says the service is embarking on sensitization campaigns in traditional markets in Kumasi as part of measures to deal with the problem.
Bantama market and Asafo market, and we've also intensified our educations over there to make sure they are very abreast with fire prevention and even firefighting before we even get there. So if you could realize, these days we are not joking, and that's why we've been able to reduce the fires in Ashanti region by 20.4%.
Unlike many markets in the country, the KJTR market in Kumasi is built with firefighting installations. Each of the 2 installed reservoirs in the market supplies enough of water for fire emergencies. Though measures are well in place for firefighting, the service has taken its personnel through the technology application in the market. ACFO Jiwa explains.
And we've observed that they have almost all the firefighting facilities, fire detection systems, all have been installed over here. So in case of any emergency or any fire outbreak, the smoke detectors are supposed to pick them, send a signal to the control panel, and the control room will also send a signal to our fire officers who are also stationed over here for us to react. So I think the installations are very good. I think this is something.
You know that the fire service faced backlash on how they handled the Makula fire, so hopefully things are going to get better. That's Talking Business this morning. My name is Daryl Kwao. Keep following us on our social media platforms at Joy Prime TV on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Beyond the Headlines with Benjamin up next. Don't go anywhere.